It's amazing. Oh, this thing lied. It said 8 people.
Yeah, I do not see 8 people. I need my background.
I got this one to work. Oh, get transfer ready is a good one.
Yes, it is. Okay, hold on.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Krista.
I am just checking to make sure I have the recording options. Give me one moment.
It seemed to start automatically when
Oh,
we
yeah.
were logged in.
Okay, yep, I can see that along the top. Okay. Wow, that was easy. How's everybody doing today?
You good for
We
a
are
Tuesday?
good.
Good.
Hi,
I need to.
Maddie.
I'm just gonna let Porna know that recording's working.
It says it's already been sent to his iDrive.
And... Okay. All right. Just pull up the housekeeping slide. Right. So I'm realizing I have it's recording, but I don't have the option to share my screen. Do you have the option to share your screen?
Let me see. I don't. You're right.
Okay. I'm gonna message Porna.
Okay.
Um, Give me one moment. I'm gonna try to flag one of them. They might have to do the screen sharing depending on how it was set up by IT, so just bear with me. Nafisa's gonna jump in, and then she should be set up as a host to be able to do the slide share. Do you?
Crystal, I do need to be the one sharing if possible because there's certain web pages that we wanted to share as we go.
Gotcha.
Yes, please and
Okay.
thank you.
No problem. Let me just see because I think the links were set up by IT, so I'm just not sure if any of us have the ability to actually go in and change the settings in it.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, what we can do is just set up another Teams meeting link and jump over there. That way it will just set up as a normal Teams meeting and then we shouldn't have any issues with the controlling.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry,
so
Crystal.
yeah,
I'm just gonna jump in quickly. I think I changed the privilege for
okay.
Jessica
I
to
see
be a
it.
presenter. Do we want to test run it and see if it works?
Yes,
Hi,
I do see
everyone.
it.
Thanks,
Okay, can you
Nafisa.
guys see that?
We can.
Yes.
Yay,
Hi.
awesome. Okay. I know you have some slides beforehand, Crystal, so I'll let you do that.
That's okay. I was just going to do a bit of housekeeping and oh, I do have the ability to share my screen. Yay, Nafisa to the rescue. Thank you, Nafisa. Thank you everyone for your patience as we worked through some technical just technical stuff. All right, bear with me for one moment. All right, so welcome everyone. I hope you were able to join the keynote. I thought it was a pretty timely conversation and very on point with what I'm seeing with learners. For those of you I haven't met before, I'm Crystal Bika, and I am a career and student success advisor. I use she, her pronouns. So welcome to day one of the advising of the Humber Advising Conference. Before I pass it over to the transfer services team, I just wanted to go over some brief Microsoft Teams housekeeping items. If you could kindly, first of all, the session will be recorded. If you could kindly just keep your mic on mute for now, but definitely if you would like to ask a question, you can feel free to use the raise hand feature, and then you can use your mic or you can use the chat feature. And yeah, during the Q&A, just feel free to raise your hands if you'd like. And if you take a look at the screen there, it just shows you if you'd like to turn on live captions, then you are welcome to do so by going to the More function. All right, so let's get started and I'll pass it over to our transfer services team. Thank you.
Awesome. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, everybody can see. It looks good. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much, Crystal, for that introduction. Good morning, everybody, and I hope everyone's having a good day. The sun is shining, and hopefully that improved your mood. I know it always does for me. So today we are going to be presenting on our future students are already here and the power of student-centered advising. So as you may know, speaking with an advisor is one of the most influential factors for a student who's considering transferring to Humber. So our presentation is going to cover some of what we do as student mobility advisors, describe the needs of our mature students, how we analyze those needs to leverage our advising approach, and discussing our preferred advising model, which is appreciative advising. As student mobility advisors, we consider the retention of our students to be a very crucial factor in our recruitment efforts. So we hope that you'll find this presentation valuable in your own advising. I'll do a quick introduction. So my name is Jessica and I go by she, her pronouns as well. My colleagues will also be presenting today, Kiara and Jamil, and we three are the student mobility advisors here at Humber. So before we get into some more content, I'm just going to read out our land acknowledgement. Humber Polytechnic is located within the traditional and treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit, known as the Adubikok, the place of the Black Elders in Michisaugee language. The region is uniquely situated along Humber River watershed, which historically provided an integral connection for Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples between the Ontario Lakeshore and the Lake Simcoe Georgian Bay regions. Now home to people of numerous nations, Adubikok continues to provide a vital source of interconnection for all. And for the next slide, I will pass it off to Kiara.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everybody. Let's dive into the reason we're all here, the power of advising, why the advisor transfer student connection matters. As each institution has their own rules and regulation around transfer, students are unsure of the process or even what to expect when transferring. Post-secondary lingo can be hard for someone that has not stepped foot in a college or university in years, so we try to have our advising models help with that. To give you an idea of the number of students reaching out to us through our advising appointments alone, so not even our inbox, we have advised 1,522 students or prospective students in the past year. We do keep track on a spreadsheet. We help them navigate transferring and transitioning and definitely play a part in their decision to attend Humber. So we consider our role to be all-encompassing, taking into account the entire educational path of the student and not just where they're at the moment. We also believe it elevates the student experience, helping them feel welcome, and transferring to us was the right choice. And we hope it also leaves them likely to return to Humber for maybe a second credential or refer Humber to their family and friends. We try to advise with retention in mind always. It's really about providing students with academic advice that allows them to envision their academic journey with us from start to finish. We look for transfer pathway opportunities, alternate ways to gain credit for every student, even if they don't ask, just so they are aware of their future options and the requirements to get them there. On our next slide, we'll be giving you a little overview of the mature student population and who they are. So a little bit of UCAS data on the side for you there. 73% of Ontario college applicants are non-direct. There's a huge chunk coming not directly from high school, whether it's from another college or university or just a gap in their education, and they've gone into the workforce. Over 38,000 college applicants were 25 years or older, so definitely talking to the bit of a mature crowd. Here at Humber, 65% of our student body is considered non-direct or not directly from high school, so it's quite the majority of the students that we're advising. A few misconceptions about our mature students is that they fare worse academically, when in reality they actually perform on par or better. We can thank our health science faculty for that data. Another one is that maybe they're out of touch, but they have real world experience that the direct students are studying to gain. So their knowledge sharing enriches the classroom experience because they're bringing that to everyone involved. These students do, however, require special advising that considers their education and career, past, present, and future. Many mature students return to school to change careers, upgrade skills, finish a program they started years earlier, just learn a new hobby. We've seen every reason. These concerns and their lived experiences make the return to school vastly different from somebody coming directly from high school. They could have families to take care of, mortgages to pay, groceries to buy. We know those aren't cheap. Aging parents to take care of, a whole slew of other responsibilities completely outside of their studies. They face uncertainty about course and student expectations, how to balance all of their priorities. Just being in the student chair again can seem a little overwhelming. We like to let them know that they're not alone, and in actual fact, they are the majority, because most of them come to us feeling like they're going to feel extremely out of place in a classroom full of 18-year-olds, but it's usually not the case. We do believe that the mature students are a little bit underserved and in need of unique inclusion efforts. So we try to meet these needs by holding advising sessions during the lunch hours and in the evenings, so around regular work hours, virtual appointments so they can take it from their work desk and get the help they need, and recognizing their life and work experience when their education is outdated and can't transfer. I'm going to pass it over to Jamil.
Awesome. Thank you, Kiera. So, few of you might be familiar with some of the terms on the side that you're seeing now, but just to kind of show you how our advising practices have evolved significantly over the past few years, what was once seen as a strictly prescriptive process where we just give students steps to follow and then they go and apply, has now transformed into something really of more of a holistic approach. Today, we take advising beyond the prescriptive. We move it into practice by making it a bit more developmental and intrusive. We now focus on building partnerships with students, guiding them through clear pathways, transfer credits, and PLAR, ensuring they feel supported each step of the way. This shift not only helps with academic success, but it also plays a critical role in both retention and recruitment. Being intrusive for us means that we're not always waiting for the students to ask us for help. We reach out to them wherever they are, whether it's through emails or having pop-up tables and other events that we try to do at strategic times throughout the term to help us stay connected with students, especially those that are looking for a second credential. This ongoing guidance strengthens their commitment to their education, but hopefully for our institution. We find that one of the most effective student-centered approaches for our students is appreciative advising. We'll jump over there. So with this approach, it goes beyond just helping students navigate their academic journey. It empowers them to shape their own path forward. It's also about collaboration, listening, and engaging them in dialogue where they explore their preferences, strengths, and goals. It's about opening up a space for our students to think critically about their educational journey and to recognize how their past experiences, both academic and work related, can shape their future. And this is why it works so well for our team and the students that we advise, because we've seen this model work wonders for our internationally educated students who bring a wealth of experience to the table that only gets recognized through this form of advising. What makes it distinct for us is how it views the student. Rather than just focusing on their academic performance, it takes into account their entire lived experience. This includes their work experience and life skills. This also allows us to identify opportunities for credit recognition, and it creates a more comprehensive and supportive advising experience. Our mature and transfer students appreciate being seen, heard, and recognized. How it's structured to help us advise a path forward is that a lot of our mature students are looking for a career change and skill upgrade. Appreciative advising provides space to discuss their goals and assess how their past work or life experiences can translate into their new professional path. We often discuss daytime availability and work-life balance. A majority of these students are juggling work and school and require more flexibility. We ensure that advising sessions are available during times that work best for them, acknowledging their real-world commitments that many of our students face. Ultimately, with appreciative advising, it creates space for more open, honest conversation. As advisors, we're not just problem solvers, we're collaborators. And this collaborative approach makes appreciative advising the model that we choose to use and stand out in the work that we do, not only for the support it provides, but for the lasting relationship it helps us build with our students. The more we engage with students in this way, the more likely they are to feel valued, supported, and motivated to stay on track. And when students feel supported, they stay engaged, making them more likely to stay with us and hopefully recommend us to others. We're now going to look at credit PLAR, transfer credit PLAR and pathways, and how we make students' experience count. We feel the best way to do this is actually visually, so we're going to jump over to our website. Many of you may have seen it before, some might be the first time. But through here, we're just going to start with PLAR. So when we're discussing PLAR, this is where we allow students to earn credit for life or work experience. This can include work, volunteer, even self-taught skills, non-formal training and education. We advise students to view the course outline for the course that they're looking to PLAR. All our course outlines are available on our website. And what the outline does is that it shows the students whether a course is eligible for PLAR. And then what the outline does is it also tells them different ways that it's assessed, but it also advises them to talk to their program coordinator before applying. When it comes to PLAR, we have different methods of assessment. Our portfolio assessments are commonly done for courses like RIT 200. We have government training that's also PLAR, this way in programs like Police Foundations, for example. And a portfolio assessment is a great way to assess skills for our graphic design students. Some of them are self-taught and our interior decorating students as well, just to give you some examples. We have challenge exams, but we use this specifically for subjects like math or music performance. Next, we're going to take a look at our transfer credit evaluation process. So we have a clear process for transfer credit evaluations. Oftentimes, we have students within Humber who are looking to switch programs, and this often gets confused with transfer credit, but this is actually called course substitution. Course substitution is mainly for Humber to Humber courses. So when students are going from a Humber diploma to another Humber diploma or a Humber diploma to a Humber degree. The only time, from a Humber degree to a Humber diploma. So when they're going from degree to diploma. The only time a student using Humber to Humber courses that's not a pathway must come to us to apply is when it's diploma to degree, if they're going from a lower level credential to a higher credential. Everything else is handled by our records team through course substitution, and you guys might see that sometimes on a student's AP. For transfer credit, though, for students educated at an external school, there are different ways to apply depending on where they were educated. Our Ontario educated applicants, they can use our database for advising. They can search through to see potential credits that they might be able to get for the program they're coming into. We also have our reverse lookup tool, which works great for students who might have failed a course and really need to take it to catch up in their program. This is a good way for them to see a equivalent course. Next, we're just going to go over to our FAQ page. This is a nice page as well because this has detailed information from how to apply to assessment timelines. And soon on this page, we'll have the announcement that our fees have been removed for transfer credit. So no more fees. It's a really great way for us to break barriers when it comes to recognizing prior learning for these students. Yes, I see the claps. We're gonna just jump over now to our Explore Pathways page. This tool is really, really great for advising and retention as it can help students figure out their educational journey right from the start with us, whether it's moving from a diploma to a degree or even considering our foundation programs. They can search by program, even combos, 2+2, 3+2s. So this is a really good way to help students navigate that journey. We also discuss pathways out with our students. Usually when this is done, it's when we have agreements for students with other schools to further their education. So like a master's program is a really great one because even if we don't directly offer the program yet, we have pathways for our students to upgrade their credentials and further their studies. Awesome. Thanks, Jess, for that. So yeah, with our mature students, these through pathways, credit, and PLAR opportunities, we provide many benefits for them. It gives them a sense of inclusion and recognition for the work that they've done. They can reduce their coursework, shorten their program length, and have more access to resources and time, right? There are also opportunities for like our degree holders. We see a lot of people coming in who have already completed a degree, sometimes even a master's and a PhD, and they're coming into a diploma. And what we do to recognize their previous education is we give them exemptions for their writing and elective courses. And we also offer a lot of transfer scholarship. Now we're going to listen to a few different testimonials from different students who have benefited from transfer credit, PLAR, and pathways. Here's our first testimonial.
So we want to know, what was your transfer experience like?
I was really lucky. My transfer experience was really easy. I walked on campus one day and saw a booth that was talking about transfer options, and then I wanted to look into it because I knew I had some general electives that I wanted to get like my credits for. And then I just went on my Humber and filled out a transfer application, but I was a bit confused about like what I had to submit. So I called the transfer office, and that's how I got the steps of like how to fill out the application properly by talking to an advisor, and then I got my credits.
Awesome. So in this video, she just shares about how she initially applied. You know, she came to one of our booths at one of our pop-up events and she went online, found it confusing. Then she reached out and had a phone appointment with one of the advisors and received clear steps. And then she was able to complete her application and successfully transfer her credits. Her previous degree program was not the right fit for her, but she found that coming here for a diploma was the perfect choice. And this is something we see very often, students transitioning from degrees to diplomas and finding it a better fit. Now, this student, she's currently graduating actually, and she enjoyed her experience here with us. And because we recognize her credits, we hope that this encourages her to return for maybe a degree or even a grad cert. After all, this student is a perfect example of how our future students are already here. Now we're going to just look at some screenshots of a real life example of a diploma to degree transfer applicant. So this student specifically came to us from George Brown. They did a supply chain diploma there. Unfortunately, we do not have a formal agreement with them into our supply chain degree. However, through our process of transfer credit and recognition of the student's prior learning, we were able to grant him 50% of the courses required for his degree, essentially giving him 2 years of credit towards his new program. And what's important here is that we recognize and award credit for equivalent courses wherever they appear in our curriculum, no matter what semester, even when there isn't a direct pathway agreement in place. So this is a situation we often see. And in this case, the student was very, very pleased with the outcome. And through advising, we were highly cooperative and supportive throughout the process. The PC was also involved. It's always great to have an ally. The PC played an essential role in ensuring that the academic plan for the student was clear and feasible. And this positive experience not only helped the student continue their academic journey with us, but also we hope it positioned us as a trusted partner in their future academic goals. All right, we're now going to jump to the next testimonial.
So I wanted to highlight a few PLAR stories, so examples of learning done through experience and not formal education, so that these students know that PLAR is an option to gain credit when they apply to a Humber program. Really does make a difference. So the first story I'd like to share is from a cell to a skill set. So we had a student a couple years back that was willing to share that he had been incarcerated for over 5 years. While in jail, he was given computer privileges for good behavior, was not allowed internet access, and didn't ask why due to whatever crime. But the computer at the jail did have an AutoCAD program meant to help inmates learn a new skill. So he started using it. He really enjoyed it. He became proficient. He became a hobby even when he was released. Led him to apply to a program in applied tech, which had 2 AutoCAD courses in it. So after an initial interview with the PC to assess his skills, the PC agreed to a challenge assignment. So basically an AutoCAD assignment for these courses, which he passed, and the credits were granted. So not formal education, wasn't work experience, was just a hobby, but still something he was able to gain credit for. Another more formal example, this one is a PLAR portfolio from one of our interior decorating students. She was a novice graphic designer in Peru. So she came here to do interior decorating, was more of the niche of that she was looking for. And she was given her an opportunity to showcase her skills through PLAR. So this logo she designed herself, that's her own logo. And the next few slides are just some examples that she included in her very well put together portfolio for this course. This first one is a mobile bookstore that she designed for a vendor in Peru. It was designed to be easily wheeled around while carrying as many heavy books as possible. Next, there is the front of a bakery slash cafe using Peruvian color schemes. And after that is the back of the bakery with reasons provided for her fabric choices, colors, lighting, functionality. And lastly, the standalone structure she created for toddler play with the goal of using their whole body to improve their motor skills. She also included the exploded or expanded version to show all the components. So really showing off her skills here. Safe to say that this credit was granted. Many mature students, just like this one, are coming with skills that are not reflected on their transcript. So PLAR really allows them to showcase that. Fun fact, not this student, but a graphic design student at Humber holds the record for the most PLAR, which was 75% of that diploma program, which is the max they are allowed to satisfy through transfer and PLAR. They had been the editor of a magazine for over a decade and had significant graphic design experience, brought in a whole stack of the magazines they had published over the years. So really looking for any and all ways we can have these students get credit for their learning. Over to Jessica for another one.
Awesome. Okay, so this is our final testimonial. So this is from a student who completed a diploma to degree pathway. I'm going to be playing a video testimonial from the student. We'll discuss that a little bit and then talk about how diploma to degree pathways benefit students.
For me, I was thinking more about long term, so more about the resume aspect. Really, if you get an advanced diploma and a degree within 5 years of school, or you just have an advanced diploma for 3 years, and like with how the job market's going to be, in my head, and talking with my family and friends, it's like I believe that was the best opportunity, because if you're applying for a job and you don't know the person, so there's no network connection, and you have someone who has, let's say, a bachelor degree versus someone who has just a diploma, chances are they're not going to go with you.
Okay, so Jalal is a student who came from the sports management diploma and then went into the Bachelor of Commerce Management Studies pathway. So he was able to start in the bachelor's degree program directly in semester 5, which is awesome. So within 5 years, he was able to receive the diploma and the degree, which allowed him to secure a full-time job, which is actually here at Humber, which is awesome. Sometimes students love Humber so much they study here due to credentials, and who knows, maybe they'll end up working here too. But he is one of those students, one of many students who choose to do a diploma to degree pathway based on the benefits of receiving 2 credentials. As you folks might know, our job market is becoming increasingly difficult to break into. So when we are advising students today, at least I see myself, a lot of students are concerned about the employability. Will this program help me get a job? All those questions are always coming to me. So that's where 2 credentials can be very helpful. And there are also a lot of many reasons why students benefit from pathways. The biggest one, or not the biggest one, but one of them being that they do save quite a bit of money. It is obviously less tuition. Instead of taking 4 years to finish the bachelor's program, they start sometimes in semester 3, sometimes in semester 5, depending on the pathway. Therefore, they are spending less on tuition. Some students do not meet the grade requirements for the bachelor's program directly coming out of high school. So oftentimes they might meet the GPA requirements for the diploma instead. So they start in the diploma, they finish it, and then they can go into an advanced semester in the bachelor's program, which is awesome. And there's also an opportunity to gain real world experiences through field placement. So our bachelor's degree programs do offer a work term, and that just looks awesome on a resume. They can go to an employer and say that they have the hands-on experience from their program. Here's just an idea of what the pathway looks like on an academic progress. I know that a lot of you folks, when you are advising, you are looking at students' APs, so I just wanted to show you what that does look like. So this student starts directly in semester 5 because of the pathway. So it'll say semesters 1 to 4, block transfer satisfies semesters 1 to 4 requirements. What I really wanted to highlight is semester 6 and 7, because I think it's important to note that pathway curriculum is different than regular curriculum. So there are some what we call reach back courses in his semester 6 and 7 curriculum. So for example, Stat 1112 and Econ 2000, those are not in the regular curriculum. At least they're not in semester 6 and 7. They appear earlier in the program. So the reason why we have that is just to help students fill some of the gaps that they may not have learned in their past program, or maybe they didn't touch on as in depth. So I just think it's really amazing that we can accommodate for students in this way. We make sure that we set them up for success by filling those gaps. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit more about pathways and show you some of our popular diploma to degree pathways. So this is just an overview to show you where the students can start and where they can possibly land. So police foundations to Bachelor of Criminal Justice, we see this quite often. Students would start in semester 5. So that would mean that they complete the bachelor's program more like 2 years plus the work term, so kind of like 2.5 years. In a similar fashion, we have Child and Youth Care Diploma to the Bachelor of Child and Youth Care. They would also start in semester 5. And the last one is business accounting to the Bachelor of Commerce Accounting program, where they start in semester 3. Something that I wanted to highlight here is that students who are coming from our business management diplomas or business administration diplomas, they have a pathway into each and every one of our Bachelor of Commerce programs. It will vary depending on the pathway, what semester they will start at. But as we know, those are 2 very, very popular diplomas. So if you are advising a student in either one of those diplomas, would be really great to just mention that in your advising that there is a pathway into a Bachelor of Commerce program. Granted that they do meet a few pathway requirements, which is typically a GPA requirement, a final grade requirement in, it's usually RIT 100 and maybe 1 or 2 other courses, and they do have to apply for the pathway within 5 years of completing their diploma program. So just keep note of that. If there's a student who maybe is 1 or 2 years off, you can always reach out to admissions and see, if they will, and reach out to admissions and just consult with them about that. Okay, Now we're just going to go over some data of our second credentials. So we, as Kiara and Jamil mentioned earlier, we have a lot of these events where we put on for transfer students just to give them a little bit of advising. So at one of our Transfer Thursday events, we had a lot of students who are really interested in diploma to degree pathways. About 65% of them came to be advised on that. And the number of pathways that we have to other Humber programs is 100 plus and growing. So we are always coming up with new pathways, and it's really amazing to keep coming up with those options for students. And it's important to note that we do not just have diploma to degree pathways. So for example, as Jamil touched on earlier, we have pathways to master's programs. What students will get out of the pathway will vary. Some of them are admissions pathways. Some of them will allow them to have a transfer credit into the master's program or be exempt from certain courses. And we also have our new pathways that are coming this year. So we have one from pre-health to biomedical science. All the details are not finalized yet for this, but I imagine that with certain grade requirements and GPA requirements, they would get transfer credit into the biomedical science bachelor program. And another amazing online option for students that is great for you to mention is students coming from our business admin diploma or golf management diplomas can start directly in semester 5 of the Bachelor of Commerce Management Studies program, and that will be completely online for them. Semesters 5 through 8 is completely online. So this is great for students who are already working full time, which is a lot of them are mature students. So it's really amazing that we have this option for them. And now I will pass it back off to Kiara.
Thank you. Just want to talk a little bit about how we build a community around mature students and events that make them feel seen. So we do quite a few targeted events for them, online and in person. We had our first ever grad fair this past winter. So for promoting our graduate programs, our faculties came out, plus our partner schools that we have pathways to other grad programs with. We do a student transfer week, kind of like an orientation, but for transfer students. We do matures transfer student sessions. Those are actually on right now. You can see them on our website. They're evening and lunch hour, really quick drop in and out advising sessions for mature students. We know that they're on the go, so it's really nice for them to be able to pop in and out, get their questions answered, go back to their responsibilities. We've done power up your credential sessions in the past before. These are mainly faculty led to promote a certain credential or pathway, usually into a new program, so students can know all about it. We do Transfer Thursdays. This is a pop-up table, like one of our testimonials stated, where we put them outside of our office just to catch our own students walking through the halls. We do a Pathways Fair every year. It's been one of our most popular and well-attended events. We had almost 2,000 registered and almost 1,000 attend, so a really great conversion rate. We did this across all 3 campuses. We've down at the downtown campus as well. These events really help build belonging by letting our mature students know that they are on the right track, that the sacrifices they're making to be here are not in vain, and that their goals are actually achievable. We can help them with all of that. Ways to connect with us and ways to book appointments. So through our website, which we were showing earlier on the contact page, there is a link to book a virtual appointment with us through Microsoft Teams. We add new times almost daily, so they can always find new times if they look back. We do one-on-one advising in person, so students can just walk into their office on a queue. If we're available, we will see them. We have an inbox, transfer options at humber.ca. Students can email, especially if they're not finding other ways to meet with us. They can ask for a phone appointment or just get their questions answered through emails. We do also reach out to students through automated communication. So every student that gets an offer to Humber receives a communication about transfer and PLAR, just letting them know what all of their potential options are. Our next upcoming event is Get Transfer Ready. This will be June 25th in the evening. Details will be on our website too. It is a bit of an orientation for transfer students. They can get their transfer applications in order, figure out the courses they need to register for in their upcoming program, and learn about all the services that Humber offers. On our next slide, let's talk about our next steps and how we can all be the catalyst for student mobility and lifelong learning. So we did put a call to action here for your advising team. We hope that you take this all to heart. I'm sure most of you have already putting this into practice, but we ask that you be an ally. Reach out to us early, promote our pathways. They have specific requirements. It's good for students to know as early as possible while they're working on their current credential, what they need to get in order to move on to the next one, and just help us be the bridge between where students are and where they dream to go. A little bit about our future plans and the projects that we're working on. Always looking to create and suggest new pathways and promoting pathway development, especially for external diplomas that we don't have. We see, like the student before from George Brown, supply chain diploma that we don't have a pathway for, but we do have the degree. We see this a lot of music students where we don't have the diploma, but we have the degree. So creating pathways would really streamline the transfer process for these students. Looking for more opportunities for students to upgrade their credential, getting a few master, applied master programs that's been approved. We'll be seeing those soon. New programs and into new pathways. Every time we get new programs, seeing if there is some pathway we can develop or suggest that students can gain credit with. Continuing our conversations around PLAR, there's lots of talk around self-assessment tool projects. This helps the student take a look at our learning outcomes and really devise based on their own life experience which courses they may be eligible to PLAR. There's a really cool ONCAT course. ONCAT is the Ontario Council for Articulation and Transfer, so government run. All three of us have taken the course. It's got really good information on transferring and PLAR in this province. We all three of us have taken it. We suggested it was great. We are always looking to improve our digital application process and streamline it as much as possible. Currently it lives on my Humber, but we're looking at other places and just new ways to improve and collaborate with our industry partners. Back over to Jess.
Alrighty, so that brings us to the end of our presentation. So I just have a few closing points here. Our students are here, so let's keep them. In summary, I would like to reiterate how crucial our role is as advisors when it comes to a student deciding whether they will stay at Humber. There are so many students who are willing to stay and continue their learning, but it is up to us. We play a huge role to make sure that these students are guided onto the right path from the beginning and made aware of the options that are out there. So here are a few ways that you can stay connected with us and keep the conversation going. So the first one is to visit our website. We did showcase it a little bit at the beginning of the presentation. All our transfer credit, PLAR, and PLAR processes are on there. So humber.ca/transfer options. If you need to direct a student, it is on there. If you'd like to reach out to us by email, we prefer that staff use the email transferopportunities@humber.ca. You'll get a much quicker response on there since we only have staff communication on there. If you are directing a student to speak with us, you will direct them to transfer options@humber.ca. Partner with us to support every learner's path forward. We're hoping that you were able to learn something today that you can implement in your own advising. We are here for your questions and ideas, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us about anything that we presented on today, or if you're currently possibly advising a student who falls under the mature student category, who might require some assistance from us, you can have them book a one-on-one advising appointment, or just send us an email. But don't be shy if you have a question yourself to send us a message on Teams or just email us. And let's talk pathways, PLAR, and possibilities. We're always open to collaborating. So if this presentation sparked any inspiration for you in the world of mobility, we'd love to hear your ideas. So you see our beautiful faces here on the bottom of the slide. You might notice that there are 3 of us here, but there's 5 people in the picture. So this is me here, Jessica, there's Kiara, and here's Jamil. This is Katie. She is our events coordinator, and this is our amazing manager, Judy. So yeah, that wraps everything up. I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to us. And we would now like to open up the floor to some questions if you have any.
While we wait for questions to come in, I'm just going to jump in and say that was a fantastic presentation. And thank you so much. Like Kiara, Jessica, Jamil, you do such important work. And I love that you brought up the appreciative advising model, which is definitely a model that um, I I really appreciate as well, which I find just really helps us to relate to learners and to be partners in learning together and in exploring. So thank you for the fantastic presentation.
Thanks, Crystal. We had fun putting it together. I mean, this is what we do on the daily. Know that we're always available. Send us a Teams message. Even if you're live with a student, ask us a question, let us know.
Thank you. You're so thorough. There's no questions. There were some throughout the presentation, but you were on it. So
Did answer a few there in the chat, yeah.
all right. Well, I guess we have the next session starting in, I think it's about 5 minutes.
Awesome. Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
All right. Take
Thanks,
care, everyone.
everyone.
Thanks
Thanks,
again.
everyone. You're
Thanks.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.